So what I want to talk about, this morning is you having commitment to yourself and then having that commitment to your business. See, because when you can commit to yourself, you can commit to other things in your life. But there's no way you're going to be able to succeed without commitment. All right. Now, I want everybody to really take this time. If you're doing something else, maybe you're trying to watch the World Cup and listen to me at the same time. Maybe, you're trying to clean up and you're just listening to me on your headphones. I want you to take this time right now and get a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to jot down some notes, because this training is going to be something that you can archive and utilize for the rest of your life when it comes to giving you the wherewithal to make it, when it comes to giving you the motivation, the inspiration, and the information to make it to the next level. Because each and every one of us need commitment, not only in your business, but also in your life. And I'm going to go through a few things that's going to help you really get it. It's going to help it click. And these are things that not only I discovered by going to trainings myself, but these are things I discovered in my own life through my journey. The way I got to where I was is I didn't wake up one day and I was wealthy. I didn't wake up one day and I was a CEO. I didn't wake up one day and everybody just, wanted to be where I was financially. I had to work my way there. See, a lot of people believe they just arrive. And the problem is that most times people arrive in their mind before they arrive in real life. Now, when we talk about vision, you do have to arrive in your mind, but you can't arrive yourself, right? You got to be able to arrive in reality, and the only way you got to believe that you can get there, but you can't start truly thinking you're there before you actually get there. Now, I know that's kind of backwards, because I always teach you got to believe it before you see it. But the reality is you do got to believe it before you see it, but you got to stay humble and work your tail off so that can prove to be in reality. There's so many people that put things up on social media and try to portray lifestyles that they really don't live. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being able to, think big and being able to dream, but you can't get lost in that virtual reality when you're really not building a reality. See, you got to understand there's levels to this thing. And before I get into commitment, I want you to jot that down. There's levels to this thing. There's levels to this thing. And when I talk about commitment, you can't just get committed when you start getting paid. You got to be committed when you're broke. Let me say that again. When the pay is not there, you still got to be committed, because if you can't get committed to a process instead of being committed to pay, you'll never get paid. Let me say that again. You got to be committed to the process before you can be committed to being paid. Because if you can't be committed to the process, you will never be committed enough in order to get paid. And that's what most people never get. I can tell you right now that I was committed early on, even before I had a job, because my mother taught me what commitment was all about. Every single weekend when we lived in the projects, I had to get up and I had to help her clean the house. We didn't have carpet, so we didn't vacuum. I had to mop my room, okay? I had action figures. When you're kids, you got action figures. And I used to have to line my action figures up. On my dresser and also on my little nightstand, and I had like a little shelf in my room. I had to line them up like they were fighting. I had to have some type of organization when you walked in my room. When you walked in our little small apartment in the projects, everything was organized. And what they taught me early on was discipline. It taught me early on that if you want to be able to have something, no matter how small it is, you got to be able to take care of that. And what it taught me over time, when you take care of the small things that God gives you, as you learn more, he'll give you more. And when you take care of that, he'll give you more. And when you take care of that, man, there's no stopping you. Because I was able to go from mopping floors in the projects to eventually getting a job at McDonald's, and I took care of that. And then I got a job at grocery stores, and I was able to become a supervisor over the stock department, and I took care of that. And when I got to college, I got hired as a co-op student, the youngest co-op student, with Southern Company, Georgia Power, the youngest student engineer in the company's history. At 18 years old, making $20-something an hour. I took care of that, and I was actually engineering projects at 18 and 19 years old. At the age of 20, I got started in the network marketing industry, one of the youngest executives in that company, 22 making six figures, 25 making six figures per year, because I made a commitment. Even before I was paid, I made a commitment to those processes. So the question I got to you, how many of you or making a commitment to the process before you try to get paid. There's so many people that want to get paid, but they're not committed to the process. I want y'all to get with me now. I'm getting excited. I haven't even got into my content. Like, I haven't even got to the first slide, and I'm going. So hopefully y'all are getting this. I mean, you need to tag your people who are not on this right now because they need to hear this. Everybody want to get paid, but nobody wants to go through the process. So what I want to talk about this morning is that commitment. That's what I want to talk about. Let me make sure I got access. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this party started. Before I begin, I want you to think about what areas of your life are pulling at you to become greater. What are some of the things you consistently think about that you want to accomplish? You know, is it moving up in your career, a dream that you pondered, or a business that you've been working on? Is it a better relationship with your spouse, or better parenting with your children? You know, is it your attitude? You know, not letting the small things or even the small-minded people get under your skin. I want you to think about that. Or maybe it's your finances. You know, you want to break this generational curse of financial bondage in your family, or get on track to leave a financial legacy for generations to come. I want you to be able to stop and think about this. I want you to ponder right now about the dreams that you have. There's so many people that have dreams and they die without even trying to fulfill them. That's what you find in the graveyard, a lot of dreams. When you drive by, it's not just bodies in those graves, but there are dreams in those graves. There are untapped potential in those graves. What I decided to do a long time ago is to die with no potential left in me. A long time ago, I decided that. And I decided whatever it took, I was going to make it happen. Whatever it took. I was not going to quit, because if God blessed somebody else with enough potential to get what they wanted out of life, and those people got it, you best believe I was going to get it. That was my mindset. But wealthy people taught me early on, Reco, is going to take commitment. So I was committed when I was working at McDonald's. There were people that came in and they started coming in late. When they found out the supervisor was cool with them being 10 or 15 minutes late, they just started showing up 10 or 15 minutes late. You know, they would halfway make the hamburgers. They wouldn't say, you know, hello, welcome to McDonald's, and have a smile. You know, and what happened is they always stayed at those positions that were at the bottom. But what I focused on was looking at what the people that were doing at the top. I not only wanted to be the head cashier, but I wanted to be able to supervise the cashiers. I started watching the mannerisms and the language of the owners of McDonald's. Why? Because I wanted to be at those points. So it's about excellence, and we're going to get there. But you got to ask yourself, you know, what are you trying to accomplish? You know, whatever that is, the question is, I like to ask you is, how committed are you to it? What your dreams are, how committed are you to it? No matter how much hope, no matter how much you wish, and no matter how much you pray, without commitment, nothing happens. I'm going to say that again. No matter how much you hope, no matter how much you wish, and no matter how much you pray, without commitment, nothing happens. I want you to write this down, okay? Write this down. You cannot conquer what you are not committed to. You cannot conquer what you are not committed to. It is very difficult for some people to grasp concepts that translate into success because they don't see it growing up, or they don't have the people around them to exhibit these qualities. So you got to ask yourself, are you committed to it? Now, I just told y'all earlier to tag some people on here so they can get on your team. But let me tell you something. Text somebody in your life and tell them to get on NovaeLive.com. You know, they're not even in Novae money. Tell them this ain't even about money. Tell them this is about life. Tell them this is what you've been needing to take your life to the next level, because I'm about to go in real quick. I'm going to give you 45 minutes of information that's about to take you to the next level. So you need to share this thing. I don't even care if they stay for the comp plan training. I don't care if they stay for anything else. They need this right here, because this is going to literally change somebody's life, because what's standing between you and the lifestyle you want to live ain't you figuring out how to be able to place people correctly. It ain't you figuring out how to make a Novae money sale or enroll somebody for the car dealership program. It ain't you figuring out how to sign up people for the franchise program or get affiliates to get enrolled for $4.99 on the affiliate program pro. That ain't what's standing between you and the lifestyle you want to live. Let me tell you something. What's standing between you and the lifestyle you want to live is your level of commitment with your health, with your relationships, with your business, with your finances, with your walk with God. Let me tell you, the only thing standing between you and what you want is your commitment. I want you to write that down. Commitment in all big letters. I want you to circle that bad boy, put a star beside it and underline it. And always remind yourself when things are happening that you don't want to happen, when things are going down, that you feel like everything isn't going your way, stop blaming everybody else. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself about your level of commitment. That's what we're about to talk about. I hope y'all ready. I hope you shared this thing with somebody. NovaeLive.com. You can post it on Facebook. You can do whatever you want. Let somebody get this information because it's about to bless somebody. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about what is commitment. Hopefully you're catching this thing at the right time because this is about to change your life. See, one of the definitions of commitment as we know it is the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or an activity, right? You know, if you were involved with the business or a company and you wanted to succeed, you know, it may be the company's commitment to quality. You know, and not only is it the company's commitment, but if you're a part of the company, you got to be committed. You know, not just talking about Novae's vision, not just talking about the CEO's vision, but what you got to start doing is being wrapped up with your own vision. See, if you're going to succeed, you got to be committed just like me. You can't look at it and say, man, he runs the company, so he should be more committed than me. You'll never win that way. Let me tell you what you'll do. You will eventually continue to find excuses to go from one thing to the next, and it be somebody else's fault. But you're never going to be able to succeed at anything until you're just as committed as the highest person within an organization. See, the reason why I was able to go from McDonald's and become a supervisor and work at Kroger and become a supervisor and work at Toys R Us distribution warehouse and become a supervisor and get hired with Georgia Power and become one of the youngest engineers that the company ever hired, even before I graduated from college. You know, one of the reasons why I became one of the young executives of the company and one of the youngest people who was ever recognized in the top CEOs of the direct sales industry and who's who of Black Atlanta, because I committed myself to every single thing I did. You got to ask yourself, are you committing yourself? Are you dedicated to a cause? Are you dedicated to an activity? That's what they say the definition is right here. The next definition, an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. An engagement or obligation that reflects freedom of action. You got to ask yourself, you know, are you restricting yourself from certain freedoms or actions? People say, well, I just got to be me. I just got to be myself. It's cool to be yourself as long as yourself is not holding you back from the commitments that you made to the individuals who you're working with. See, that's cool. So you got to understand there's nothing wrong with you being yourself as long as you being the best version of yourself. See, people always talk about all the time, yeah, well, I want to accomplish this, but I just got to be me. Well, let me ask you a question. Are you committed to something that's holding you back? Is the you that you committed to holding you back and everybody else at the same time? See, when we become adults, we got to start being responsible. It's not just about what we want. But when you're an adult, especially if you got a significant other, especially if you got kids, you got to be committed to changing. Why? Because you got other people depending on you. How you used to act 10 or 15 years ago, you can't act the same way. You know why? Because things have changed. And you got to be responsible enough to say, you know what? I'm committed to be a new me. I'm committed to being the best me. And when you got that kind of commitment and responsibility as a team member, as an adult, as a business partner, you know, as a person who's involved with a program, then things are going to start happening better for you. Let's talk about 3 levels of commitment real quick. The first level of commitment is personal commitment. See, when you're personally committed, these are the decisions that are made that affect you. You know, the decisions that you make, like what to eat. You know, somebody was telling me earlier, one of my business partners, before we started the webinar, they said, man, Reco, I can tell, you know, your workout program been working for you. You know, I started 6 weeks ago, a workout plan. And not only did I have a workout plan where I had to show up 3 times a week with a personal trainer at minimum, but I also had to eat certain things. And I also had certain things that I couldn't eat. And I was committed to that process. And after 3 weeks, I lost 16 pounds and 7% body fat, but I had to be committed. See, that was personal commitment. See, some people are unhappy, not just because of what's going on around them, but they're unhappy because of what's going on inside themselves. Let me tell you why. Because you have no personal commitment. So you got to have personal commitment. The second level of commitment is peer commitment. See, these are decisions made that affect people you work with. You got to start asking yourself, how many people can count on you? Now, see, the reason why a lot of people don't win is they can't count on themselves. They don't even have the first level of commitment, which is personal commitment. And then one of the reasons why they can't ever succeed is because they don't have the second level of commitment, which is pure commitment. See, somebody got to be able to count on you, because at the end of the day, you can't win by yourself. And the third level of commitment is purposeful commitment. See, it's not just about you. It's not just about the people you work with, but it's about something that's far deeper than that. See, this is decisions that transcend outcome. See, these are things that really revolve around your reason why that you exist, your reason why you get up in the morning. What really makes you tick? What motivates you? You got to have some purposeful commitment. And when I talk about purposeful commitment, these are decisions made to transcend outcome. We're talking about your kids. We're talking about your wife. What kind of character do you have? When you leave this world, how do you want people to remember you? See, because you're always going to have haters, and we're going to cover that, okay? You're always going to have naysayers. But the bottom line is, how will people remember you? See, a lot of the naysayers and the haters, they're eventually going to go away. They're going to fade away. But the legacy that you leave, that's the thing that you got to be excited about. And that's that third level of commitment. See, there are issues that stop commitment. Let me tell you what the issues are that stop commitment. And that's the price. I want you to write that down. Now, we're about to get into some serious note taking. And I really want you to become a student. I always tell people, if you want to succeed, people say, Rico, well, how do I succeed? How do I become, wealthy? If you want to become wealthy, you got to study wealth. If you want to become successful, you got to study success. If you want to become committed, you got to study commitment. This whole training is about commitment. So I want you to take the time to get out a piece of paper and a pen or your laptop or whatever and take some notes. Because after this training, I want you to be able to go back and look at this. I want you to be able to go back and study this. And this is going to help you become more committed at what you're doing. It's not just about doing it, but you got to be committed to it. Shanae, share this, please, on my personal Facebook page. Somebody needs this. I'm hoping everybody gets this. Some of you, if you're in some other groups, share this in those groups. Somebody got to get this, because this is some serious business right here, right? See, the reason why most people can't be committed is because of the price. See, most people think they should have been further than they are. I want you to be honest. I want you to be honest. For those of you who are listening and looking right now, I want you to be honest and raise your hand if you feel like you should be further along than you are. And I'm not just talking about in your business. I'm talking about in your career. I'm talking about in your marriage. I'm talking about in your health. I'm talking about different places. Raise your hand if you feel like you should be further along than where you are. See, you're getting older and wondering why you haven't been able to get what you want. See, the cost of getting to see it is a commitment that you've never been willing to pay. Let me say it again. The cost of getting to see it, of what you want, is a commitment that you've never been willing to pay. Now, you got to be able to accept this. You got to be able to embrace this, because I'm giving you something right now that most people won't tell you. You complain to your friends about not being where you want to be. You complain to strangers. Most people don't ever give you an answer. First of all, you got to start waking up in the morning and start realizing that I am an answer. See, people come with me with their problems because they know I come up with solutions. I'm built for this. And you got to start telling yourself the same thing. There's never been an adversity in my life that God gave me the ability to solve that I didn't get a solution. Why? Because I am an answer. You got to tell yourself you're the same thing. And until you have enough confidence to start believing you are the answer, you got to hang around people who have one. You got to hang around people who are the answer until you get to the point where you can become that answer. But you got to understand, if you want to be successful, there's a price to pay. I want you to write that down. There's a price to pay if I want to become successful. See, there's no such thing as a successful person that didn't pay a price. There's so many people you see on social media, it seems like they got there because they had so many followers. It looks like they got there because they played the right video, or their website looked a certain kind of way, right? Or they were connected to the right people. But see, you got to understand how it really goes down, right? How it really goes down with the banks, how it really goes down with lenders, how it really goes down when people start looking at your business profile or your credit report. How it really goes down is there's a price to pay. There's a price to pay. And there's no such thing as a successful person that didn't pay a price. There's no such thing as a person that is continuously successful that doesn't continuously pay a price. So I'm going to give you 10 things that's really going to help you get on track to be able to understand what's really going on here. Number one, everything worth having costs something. I want you to jot that down. Number one is everything worth having costs something. Understand that there are no victories at bargain prices. See, you either choose the pain of discipline or you choose the pain of regret. You have to pay a price somewhere. If you want to succeed, you're going to have to pay a price somewhere. See, the bottom line is you can start doing things now and pay the pain of discipline so you can have your rewards. Or you can just make sure you continue to sweep those things under the rug, and then years later, you're going to pay the pain of regret. See, you pay now or you pay later. Always remember that. You pay now or you pay later. And if you wait to pay later on in life and play now, you must remember the payment compounds. This is some good stuff. Now, listen, if y'all on the webinar, listen, if I'm going too fast, just screenshot this stuff, man, so you can go back and you can look at it, you can listen to it, and make sure you share it with somebody and tell them about this company called Novae, where we're inspiring people to get more out of life. We educating them on ways to go about it, and we providing opportunities to make it happen, because if it wasn't for people who poured into my life, like I'm pouring into you right now, I wouldn't be able to live the lifestyle that I'm living. I'm blessed and fortunate to be able to do things that I do for my family. We travel the world. We don't have to worry about negative finances, and we're happy people because we give back everything that God blessed us with in a matter of opportunity, and education and information, we give back. That's what our company's all about. And I want you all to be able to get this information, be able to embrace it, and go and give it to somebody else as well. But you got to remember that you pay now and you play later, it has consequences, because if you wait to pay later on in life and play now, you must remember that the payment compounds. The longer you wait, the greater the payment to be made. The longer you wait, the greater the payment to be made. So you got to start paying now with the pain of discipline, so you won't have to worry about the pain of regret later on. Number two, the better the desired result, the higher the price. The better the desired result, the higher the price. See, the price is going to be proportionate to the height of the desire you have. That's what we're talking about, this price. We're talking about what you got to pay. Somebody say, man, well, listen, I'm getting started and I want to make $10,000 a month. Well, the first question would be, have you ever made $10,000 a month? Somebody come in and work at a personal trainer program and they want to lose weight. Let's say they come in and, 6 feet tall and weigh 300 pounds and say, look, man, I'm going to do this for 6 weeks and I want to lose 100 pounds. Well, the question is, how committed are you? See, the price is going to be proportionate to the height of the desire that you have. See, every right implies a responsibility, and every opportunity and obligation, in every possession a duty. See, people are always ready to assert their rights, but not ready to assume their responsibility. Let me run that back so you can catch that, because this is a good one. And so many people in our country, are at a place where they believe that, they have these freedoms, but you got to understand that freedom ain't free. See, the reason why we have so many privileges in this country is because there are other people who are paying the price for you to be free. And there's so many people who want to stand up and say, well, I live in America, so I should have this, this, and this. But they don't look at their responsibility that they have to America to make certain contributions so we can continue to live free. That's one of the reasons why our country is in so much disarray right now, even with the person that we have in office at the highest power, is because people are so ready to assert their rights, but not ready to assume their responsibility. Let me ask you, are you ready to assume your responsibility? Are you ready to assume your responsibility before you assert your rights? Because there's so many people that don't. Understand this: excellence costs more than average. I want you to jot that down. Excellence costs more than average. Average, you don't have to put forth much effort. See, big dreams plus low commitment equal a nightmare. Big dreams plus low commitment equal a nightmare. But there's so many people that want to be able to have these big dreams, but they're really not committed to the end result. And when you're not committed to the process, but you're committed to receiving the pay, that equals mediocrity. That equals a goal unfulfilled, a dream unrealized. That equals frustration. That equals an illusion. You can't have big dreams and low commitment and expect big results. It's impossible. People will approach you about opportunities where there isn't much work, but it promises much return. Always remember, that's a joke. You got to understand this, that greatness never goes on sale. I want you to jot that down. I want you to put a star beside it, underline it. You got to understand that greatness never goes on sale. If you are a great man or a great woman, don't let somebody drag you down to the bargain basement just so you can have some company. If you're a great man or a great woman, you go out and you search for greatness, especially if you're going to start reproducing. Somebody got to bring something to the table. It ain't just about looking good. What can you bring to the table? I want you to understand that. It ain't just about a pretty face, right? It ain't just because you can run fast, right? But it's about what can you bring to the table. That's why you got to work on your greatness. You got to prepare yourself. For the young people who are listening to this right now, even if you're older and you're single, you got to start telling yourself that you're great and you need to expect greatness from the person that you're working with. Let me tell you why, because that's your legacy right there. That's your legacy right there. You know, I'm in the office right now. I've been here since early this morning, was here late last night. You know, all this week, been at the office past 12 hours trying to get this bad boy ready because we're expanding. Let me tell you who's been with me, my wife. She's not only a pretty face, but we grind. Why? Because greatness never goes on sale. You know, greatness, there's a cost to it. And you got to ask yourself, are you willing to pay the price? But is that person willing to pay the price with you? See, you know, if you're going to be lonely, you can do that by yourself. So make sure if somebody want to get with you, that they're willing to ride with you. Number 3, the price of reciprocity. There's a price, and it's called reciprocity. Appreciate and embrace reciprocity. Well, let's talk about reciprocity. You cannot have a relationship without reciprocity. It's a give and take thing. See, you cannot get in a relationship to get and not give. Now, we're talking about commitment here. See, it's not just about what you get, but it's about what you give. This is leadership. This is character. This is integrity. Now, if you want to win big and continue winning, I'm giving you some principles right here. Okay? See, when you get on those webinars where they're hyping you up about making millions of dollars and all you got to do is a few simple things and you're going to get rich, if it was like that, nobody would be broke. In fact, our whole system of capitalism in America wouldn't even operate correctly if that was the case. But the bottom line is there are certain principles, certain things that have to be implemented for you really to win. And I'm giving you the keys right now. That's you got the keys, all that kind of. I'm giving you the keys right now. So you got to understand, you cannot get in a relationship to get and not give. The question needs to be asked, do you give as much as you get? Add up what you're giving and weigh it against what you're getting, then you'll know if you're really committed to anything. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Add up what you're giving and weigh it against what you're getting, and then you'll know if you're really committed to anything. Don't just have a gimme mentality, okay? You have to have a giver mentality. Patience will wither over time and hope will die and they will give up. So you got to make sure that if you got people on your team that's giving, and they don't ever ask for anything to get, over the course of time, you got to make sure that they get a little something or they understand the vision of where that thing is going. Because at the end of the day, you cannot continue to be in a relationship where you have people who are giving, but they're not getting anything unless they understand the big picture. And then you're not getting either. You know, everything has to be equal over the course of time. See, check it out. You got to be able to understand that there has to be patience. There has to be patience. For example, many leaders work countless hours, spend time away from their family, travel to come speak to people across the country. And most people expect more from a company, but they can't come across town to a training or make excuses about what's going on or an event. There are people right now that made excuses about getting on an online Super Saturday training. There are people you text this to that made excuses about watching this or listening to this, and they haven't ever been where they wanted to be their entire lives. They keep making excuses about getting what they want out of life, but how much are they giving? How much of your time are you investing into individuals, into opportunities, into other people to be able to get some reciprocity where you can be able to win? The price of reciprocity is huge. So you got to understand that you got to be able to demand this. Are you demanding more from your family? Are you demanding more from your spouse, businesses, or others that you are giving yourself up? any area that you are expecting more than you invest, you will live in a perpetual state of disappointment. I'm gonna say it again. Any area that you are expecting more than you invest, you will live in a perpetual state of disappointment. You will always be frustrated. You will always be disappointed if you're expecting more out of something than you're putting into it. So you got to ask yourself, where are you on that, right? You got to ask yourself, if you're expecting to make more money in your business, are you really putting more into it than you're getting out of it? You got to ask yourself, if you're expecting your spouse or your significant other to treat you a certain way, but you're not treating them a certain way, you're always going to be frustrated. If you're frustrated with your weight loss, but you're not eating the right things, you're not exercising like you should be, you're always going to be frustrated with your weight loss situation or your health, because there is no reciprocity. You got to understand the reciprocity process. You got to put more into that thing than you expect to get out. And what happens, it works just like seed time and harvest. You plant that seed, you take care of that seed, and over time, you're going to have a harvest that you can enjoy. You're going to be able to reap the benefits that you planted. But you got to understand it's all about reciprocity. Number 4, talent is more expensive than average. Talent is more expensive than average. So you got to understand that talented people lie on their talent. They lay on their talent to camouflage their lack of commitment, because they are talented enough to get by. Some people are just talented enough to get by. They're talented enough to get by, but if they really applied themselves, where could they be? So they are able to do just a little and be recognized, but they will never live their full ability because they will never do their best. Let me tell you what, we call that casually committed. See, if you're somebody really talented, you don't have to try really hard to get by. Like, for example, when I was in high school, I didn't have to try hard to pass my classes. I didn't have to try hard to make A's in high school. I made all A's all the way through high school. You know, National Honor Society, top of my class. The bottom line was it wasn't very hard. I didn't have to apply myself. When I got to college, things changed. I had to start applying myself and being more committed, right? So most people are casually committed, but some people will never get to what they could be. See, could be is locked up behind commitment. I want you to jot that down and make sure you understand that. Could be. See, some of you right now are living in that could be category. You know, you're surviving, you're paying your bills, right? Maybe you even got the car you want. Maybe you even live where you want to live. But what if you could retire 20 years earlier? What if you could take 2 or 3 vacations a year? See, that's that could be category. You know, what if you could be doing something to inspire and help other people? That's legacy. That's that could be category. See, could be is locked up behind commitment. And if you're never committed, you will never get to the could be. See, I would hate to, I would hate to live a life and die and not know what could have happened if I did not commit my whole self to something. See, most people have really never seen what would happen if they would have thrown their whole self at something. That's what's so tragic and make death so sad, because they never lived first. That's what makes death sad. When you show up to a funeral and you know that somebody died prematurely, never really lived their best life. I don't want people to talk about that kind of stuff at my funeral and cry, because when people know in the next probably 90 years or so when I expire, because it ain't happening no time soon, I want to go ahead and throw that out there just so y'all can hear it, right? Y'all ain't gonna be playing this in a couple weeks and say, yeah, he already had it in his mind. Nah. 90 years after the day, okay, when it's time for me to leave this world, they'll be saying that boy lived a full life. That man left a legacy that will never be erased because I lived my life out loud. I went for it and I accomplished it. And you got to tell yourself you can do that as well. Not just for yourself, but do it for your kids. Do it for the generations to come. That's what's so tragic and make death so sad, because people never live first before they die. What if you threw your whole self at your dream? What if you threw your whole self, not half of yourself, not just a little bit of yourself, not tried it, but what if you committed to it over a period of time? What could have happened? CEO of this, a CEO of that, maybe being married for decades and having generations of offsprings who understands what commitment is and staying married for periods of time, and fighting through things that needed to be fought through. Now, sometimes things don't need to be fought through, but sometimes things do. You just got to stick and stay committed and keep that bad boy going. What if you commit yourself and you retire 10 or 20 years early from that job that you really don't like anyway, but you just put up with it because it pays your bills? What if you could be happy, healthy, and wise? What if you committed yourself to a process? What could be if you just threw your whole self at something? Next thing, everyone pays a price, but their price is not the same for everyone. I want to make sure people get that. See, because some people don't get this. The price is not the same for everyone. The price is not the same. It never is. But don't put your price on someone else, and don't let someone else put their price on you. See, if somebody else has a dream of making 6 figures in income a month, let that be their dream. Let me tell you what you got to do. Figure out yours. See, you know, some people got a dream. You know, I made 6 figures a month actively and built organizations all around the country. And I've traveled 3, 4, 5 times a week. You know, I've done that. And I can tell you right now where I'm at in my life. You know, I got 2 beautiful, intelligent kids, and I'm working on making sure I solidify my legacy in them as they continue to grow. I'm making sure I'm giving them all the goods. So the start of their life, of their adult lives, will supersede where I was when I'm about to end mine. So my desire, my wife is pregnant right now, so my desire to travel 4 and 5 times per week like it was when I was 25 is not the same. So the bottom line is, people who are my age that still dream to do that, I don't get disappointed or dismayed or say I need to reevaluate my goals based on what they're doing. Let me tell you why, because that's what they're doing. Don't get caught up in what other people are doing and what other people's dreams are. You figure out your dream and you figure out your plan and you stick to it. You get committed to it. If you want to pay off the house you live in and you love the little house you live in, keep loving the little house you live in. Don't worry about somebody else talking about the little house you live in or saying you need a bigger house because you make more money. Nah, love your house because it's your house. You know what? They ain't going to help you come clean up that house. If you get a house 2 times bigger than that, they ain't going to help you come clean up that house. So you know what? You better love your house because if anything happens to that bigger house, they're going to talk about you when you get kicked out of it. So stay in your little bigger house, be happy, pay it off so you can travel the world and stop worrying about what other people say. That's somebody else's price if they want that big house. So stop comparing yourself to other people and just start comparing yourself to yourself. I meet some people and I see that I don't possess the skill or desire that they have, so it's going to be different. Don't desire someone else's accomplishments without first discovering their price. See, if you desire somebody else's accomplishments, the thing that you gotta figure out is what price did they pay to get there. Not just, okay, well, how did I do it? Most people say, well, you know, how did you hit millionaire status in your mid-20s? You know, how did you do this and that? Well, instead of just asking somebody how, you know, this business model, when I went out and did, ask about the price. Ask about the process. Stop worrying about just getting paid, but ask them, how was the process? What do I need to do to get to where you are based on that process? Moving on. You can determine a person's destiny by the price they're willing to pay. I want you to jot that down. That's number 6. If you behind, you need to ask somebody. You got to go back and watch the video, right? You can determine a person's destiny by the price they're willing to pay. Watch this. Highly competent people have everything they need to do the job and they do it well. Highly competent people have everything they need to do the job and they do it well. Let me tell you something. When you're just getting started, you got to figure out the pieces of the puzzle you need to make that bad boy fit together. Understand that. You got to figure out the pieces of the puzzle you need to make that bad boy fit together. Now, if you don't have the pieces of the puzzle you need, you got to find them. Now, sometimes you start and you got the pieces of the puzzle, but sometimes those pieces may leave, so you got to find other pieces to put in that puzzle to still make that bad boy fit together. The moral of the story is the same people you had that started with you may not be around when you finish, but the goal is you still got to finish, baby. You still got to finish, baby. I don't care if you start with 20 and you end with 2. The moral of the story is you got to end. You got to get to the finish line. You got to have a vision for yourself and where you're going. You got to be passionate and committed, and you got to have the enthusiasm when other people don't. When people start losing it, you got to gain more. See, that's the kind of energy you got to have. You got to have that fire on the inside of you. They got to wake you up in the morning. They keep you up late at night. It tells you I'm still going to get there no matter what. Let me tell you something. Most people ain't going to have it. And until you get it, you got to stay around people that got it long enough until you get it. You got to continue to follow people long enough that got it with integrity until you can get it for yourself. That's how I got it. I wasn't born with this. I wasn't born being the person I am today. I always tell people, leaders, you know, are not born. Leaders are made. Leaders are shaped and groomed. You don't wake up and decide to become a leader. Leadership is a gift that's given to you by other people who decide to follow you. And they decide to follow you when you have this kind of fire, when you have this kind of confidence and this kind of belief. And you develop all those things by experience. You develop all those things by actually going out and paying the price. And when you're highly competent, you're able to develop everything you need over time to do the job, and then you do it well. But check this out. Highly competent people are committed to excellence. See, this is some good stuff for you to write down. I promise I got 10, I'll be finished soon, but y'all got to get this, man. This is some good stuff. Number one is highly competent people are committed to excellence. Excellence is gauged against our own potential. See, don't get it messed up. Don't say, oh man, well, I'm not that good at this, so I'll never be where I need to be. Well, I really don't know that much, so I'll never be where I need to be. I'll be finishing up my MBA soon. You know, I started in business and was making millions before I even had a college degree. Y'all understand me? The only reason why I went back to college is because my mother's dying wish was for me to finish college, because nobody in my family that was a male had ever graduated from college. So I promised her before she passed away that I would make that happen. Not only did I go back and get my industrial engineering degree, but I decided as a businessman and as somebody who wants to grow a company to become a multi-billion-dollar corporation, I need to understand business on the highest level. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to get my MBA. It's not just about saying, well, I know enough to run business, so I'm going to see what happens. Nah, you know what? It's about excellence. Good enough just won't do. It's about excellence, and excellence is gauged against our own potential. I'm not comparing myself to somebody else and what they did. I'm comparing myself to myself. And that's what you need to do if you want to win. If you want to win, stop looking at what everybody else is doing and getting depressed because you feel like you ain't doing enough. No, you can look at yourself in the mirror and you can tell you ain't doing enough. And you can set some goals to make sure you do better this month than you did last month by increasing your numbers, what you lack in skill. And we're going to talk more about that as well. But you got to be committed to excellence to be highly competent. Number two is they never settle for average. They never settle for average. Forget having that whole idea, it will do, right? Don't just do something to say, you know what, well, this is good enough. No, just good enough ain't good enough. See, if you want to be great, you got to be different. If you want to be great, you got to strive to figure out, how do I have the best system in place? And if you ain't got enough money to do it right now, you be the best on your level. If you're going to have the most broke down system out there, right? You know, if you can't afford that system that's a little bit higher, you got to make sure that bad boy is the best broke down system out there. When I first started driving, I didn't have a luxury car. You know, I had a 1984 Ford Escort. I had holes in my seats. You know, I had little shiny hubcaps. You know, in some places they were cracked. You know, I had a little old raggedy 8-track. You know, but let me tell you something. Every weekend, I wash my car. Every weekend, I had my wheels always, that little hubcaps, they always look good, even though they were cracked. You know, my tires always had armor all, and they were shining. Them bad boys were shining. On the inside, it was always clean when you got in. Even though my seats and the inside didn't look that good, even though my hubcaps were cracked, I took care of what I had because I understood if I took care of this little bit and I kept working, God was going to bless me with a little bit more. And then I was able to get another car, 1994 Toyota Celica. That was always looking good. And I got me a little better job, and I got some wheels on that bad boy, you know, and I got it painted on the outside, but I still had a few holes in my seats because it was used. And back in the day, a lot of people used to smoke. So when they would smoke, it would put holes in the seats. But let me tell you something, that bad boy was always clean. I had a system in it. Then I got a little bit more money, and I was able to upgrade to a 1999 Honda Civic. Had some wheels, tinted windows. I didn't have no holes in those seats. And then when I got into the industry, I got me a custom-made Jaguar, hot red, leather seats. Now I had holes in it, but the holes were for ventilation. Now I had air conditioning that came up in the seats, and it was heated. That bad boy was always clean, but it didn't start with the Jaguar. Let me tell you where it started, with the 1984 Ford Escort. That's where it started. When I was broke, I started practicing excellence before I started gaining wealth. And that's what's wrong with most people. They don't understand commitment doesn't start at the top, baby. Commitment starts at the bottom, because I just started straight and telling you that there's levels to this thing. I hope y'all getting this, man, because this is good stuff. This is some good stuff. 1984 Ford Escort. Now I'm driving a Porsche Panamera. I had a guy stop me on the street the other day, said, boy, he said, man, man, that's a sweet car. He said, man, that's a 4-door Porsche. Man, I ain't never seen no 4-door Porsche. Boy, you go, boy. That's what the guy told me at the red light. You know, and I said, man, he said, man, I ain't never seen no 4-door Porsche. You know, and shoot, before, you know, a few years before I bought it, I never had either. You know, a lot of people love that Panamera, and you guess what? Hey, I started from somewhere, now I'm here, and guess what? I'm going to keep growing because I'm committed to excellence. You got to ask yourself, are you committed to excellence? Number 3, see, when you're highly competent, you pay attention to the details. If you do little jobs well, big ones take care of themselves. See, this is what you got to watch when you're working with people, and you got to ask yourself, the little things you give them, they can't handle those little things. You're going to have a problem with them handling the big things. Now, see, when you're just starting, if you got these pieces of the puzzle you're trying to put together, and it may not be fitting all the way, but it's helping you out. So you got to understand, over time, God is going to replace those individuals who are not in your life for the right reasons. It will happen over time. And I'm telling you something, not because of what I think, because of what I know, what I personally experienced. And I got a mentor that's doing over $1 billion in business per year. And he tells me the same things that I experienced on the lower level, he still experienced on a higher level. So these things that I'm telling you are not something I think, but it's actually happening right now. And number 4, they perform with consistency. See, if you want to be highly competent, you got to perform with consistency. They give their best at all times. You got to give your best at all times. Not just good enough, that won't do. If you want to be great, if you want to be a leader, if you want people to be able to, you know, be influenced and moved by you, if you want to make millions, you got to understand that good enough won't do. You got to perform with consistency. I want you to think about it. 99.9% were good enough. Check this out. 22,000 checks will be deducted from the wrong bank account in the next 60 minutes. In the next hour, 22,000 checks will be deducted from the wrong bank account if 99.9% was good enough. If 99.9%, you know, of banks actually operated on an approval basis, you'll still have 22,000 checks come out of somebody else's account. 12 babies would be given to the wrong parents today alone if 99.9% was good enough. See, I'm looking for excellence. Yeah, we make mistakes. I'm not perfect all the time. There are many people who are not perfect. Even the best people are not perfect. LeBron James even have bad games. He's the greatest player in the world. But guess what? He still got bad games, but he strives for excellence each and every day. Number 7, if you continue to gripe about the price, check this out, you will eventually stop paying it. There are a lot of people that, hey, believe in all these things, but they gripe about the price. They gripe about, you know, having to do so much work and being so committed. Let me help y'all understand something. This ain't no motivational speech. This is information that people need to hear. I'm not just trying to encourage you and pump you up. I'm trying to give you some information to keep you on track. Matter of fact, even if you're not involved with our organization, you need to get this video and you need to play this bad boy when your commitment starts slipping. Because in order for you to succeed, you got to be able to commit to something. And you got to stop griping about it. So you got to understand that discipline is doing what we really don't want to do so we can do what we really want to do. You say, well, you know, I'm just not passionate about doing that, so I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. Let me tell you what you're doing. All you're doing is finding an excuse so you can go figure out something else to do long enough until you don't feel like it, so you can find an excuse to go do something else long enough until you don't feel like doing that long enough so you can find an excuse to go do something else so you feel like that you don't want to do that long enough so you can find an excuse. You see what I'm saying? It's a perpetual state of not winning. See, discipline is doing what you really don't want to do so we can do what we really want to do. I want you to think about that. You know, people look at, you know, Shanae and I, we work our tails off 24/7. But we've committed about 3 times a year. We're going out of the country, somewhere we've never been, sit on the beach, go, you know, play in the water, go to the pool, go sightsee, take pictures. And some people, you know, they feel some kind of way about that. We don't worry about it. Let me tell you why. Because we work our tail off all the time. And there's a price to be paid. So you got to be able to enjoy the fruits of your benefits. See, if I wasn't working my tail off, I may feel bad about it. You know what? I've been in the game now for going on 17 years. In fact, next month it'll be 17 years. You know, so the reality is I actually, you know, should treat myself and my wife and my family sometimes. And let me tell you something. If you ain't been in the game more than a couple, you got to get to work. Because in the first 5, there's not a lot of trips I took. There's not a lot of trips I took because I was committed to the process before I got paid. And you gotta be in that same place if you're looking for that. Paying the price of little things so we can buy the bigger things. You know, that's what it's all about. Pay the price for the little things in the beginning, making the calls, going to the meetings, gathering your team, being able to go out and make new contacts, right? You know, being able to continue to search in your career if that's what you're looking for. If you're married in a relationship, having to go through counseling to keep that bad boy together. Some people don't believe in counseling. You know what? Some of us got real problems. We were raised in dysfunctional environments, and we believe just because we was raised dysfunctional, somebody else should deal with our dysfunction. That ain't true. If you want to keep your thing together, you might need some help. If you committed, go get you some help, right? Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. If you committed, you figure out what it takes to make that bad boy work, and you work that bad boy. Let me tell you why. Because every single thing you do, if you want to win big on a high level, you got to say, I'm going to figure it out. Even at your lowest point, you got to go in the bathroom, look in the mirror, and you got to say, I'm going to figure it out. Sometimes you might cry. Sometimes you might feel like quitting. Sometimes you might say, hey, I don't even know if it's going to work. But you got to have faith to say it's going to happen. And as long as you take that mindset and you keep going, God is going to bless you with some things. And let me tell you this, that takes discipline. In order for you to have that kind of mindset, that takes discipline. Disciplined people possess these three things. First thing they possess is disciplined thinking. So you got to be able to discipline your thinking. See, everything starts in your mind and your heart. That's why you gotta be able to guard yourself from certain things. Your mind and heart, that's where the thinking starts. So you got to be able to guard the gates that control your mind and your heart. What controls your mind and your heart? Your eyes, your ears, and your mouth. That controls your mind and your heart, right? In order to have disciplined thinking, you got to watch out for what you're looking at. You got to watch out for what you're listening to, and you got to watch out for what you're saying, because all those things control your thinking. I want y'all to get this. This is millionaire training right here. What you looking at, what you listening to, and what you saying, that controls your discipline and your thinking. What you looking at, what you listening to, and what you're saying. So that means if you're not in a good space and you're trying to get on track, you got to stay off social media. There's so much garbage on social media. There's some good things on social media, but guess what? There's also garbage on social media. So if you're trying to get your mind right, you're trying to discipline your thinking, you need to start putting things in your head that's going to help discipline your thinking. You need to be watching videos like this. You need to be on motivational conference calls with information. You need to go pick up a book that's going to inspire you. If you got a problem going on, whether it's your health and you got some disease that you're struggling with, the doctor say you ain't got much time or something ain't happening, you got to start watching some videos and say the devil is a lie. You got to start reading some books. You got to change your diet. You might have to start exercising. You might have to get some surgery. You got to start doing some research. You got to start disciplining your thinking to get you ready. Because let me tell you what, when you got disciplined thinking, what that helps with is that helps to discipline your emotions. See, because when you don't discipline your thinking, your emotions are everywhere. And when you can't control your thoughts and emotions, let me tell you what happens. Your thoughts and emotions control you. When you can't control your thoughts and emotions can't control you. And that's the wrong direction to go in. Because when you have disciplined thinking, when you have disciplined emotions, what happens is you have disciplined actions. And disciplined people have those three things: disciplined thinking, disciplined emotions, and disciplined actions. And that helps you get the results that you want to win. And let me tell you who don't win: whiners. Whiners always eventually quit, period. Understand that? Some people say, well, I'm just talking about the facts. No, listen, let me tell you something. If there's an issue, you present the issue, but you focus more of your energy on the solution. If you focus more of your energy on that negativity that revolves around that problem, it's not going to be very likely that you're going to solve that problem. You focus most of your energy on the solution, because whiners quit all the time. Number 8, let me finish this up. The price you pay is more important than the talent you possess. Make sure you understand that. The price you pay is more important than the talent you possess. What is the price of commitment? Well, you got to ask yourself. Let me tell you right now, it all boils down to this. Sometimes it's changing lifestyle. You know, sometimes you can't do what you used to do. You know, I stopped watching TV a long time ago, and I never really went back to it. There are a lot of things I miss out on. I really don't miss it. Let me tell you why. Because I love the life I'm blessed with. I love the lifestyle that I have. And I know one of the ways I got here was I stopped watching a lot of television, right? I stopped playing basketball all the time. I used to love playing basketball all the time, but I stopped playing. So that means I'm not as good as basketball as I used to be. It's okay, because I love the lifestyle that I'm blessed with. There's a lot of things I don't I don't do now that I used to do. So it took a change in lifestyle for me to commit to something. Sometimes you got to be able to commit to being lonely. See, a lot of my friends I used to hang around, I don't hang around anymore. Why? Because they weren't committed to the things I had to commit to in order to get where I wanted to be. So sometimes you're going to be lonely. Early on, when you're in your career, maybe you haven't gotten married yet, or you don't have a significant other and you're dating, but you're focused. You got a dream. You got a game plan. Some people that you want to be with may not understand your vision. They may not understand your goals. So you may have to be lonely until you find that person. See, before I got married and I met Shanae, I told her from the jump, and she'll tell you our story. On our first date, I took her to not on our first date, maybe like on our second or third. I took her to a network marketing meeting. I told her, listen, this is what I do. You know, I want you to go and kind of do some research on the industry so you can understand it. Because if we're going to kick it for a long period of time, this is what I'm going to be doing. And if you're going to be with me, you got to be a part of it. And she went back and she researched it. She understood it. And when we got involved with each other, she made a commitment and she understood that this is what it is. So I let her know up front what it was, because if it wasn't going to be her liking, we weren't going to be able to do it. So sometimes you may have to be lonely in order to pay this price of commitment. Criticism. There are going to be some people that say you're crazy. It's not going to work. You know, whatever, you got to be committed to the process. And that's the price of commitment, is being criticized. Other price commitment is daily discipline. There are things you got to do every single day to make sure you're winning. Like me, I stopped watching TV. I stopped playing basketball every day or every other day because I had to be committed to reach in my goals. Hard work and money. It is going to take some hard work, and it is going to take some investments. I've invested over $100,000 over the course of my life in personal growth and self-development, going to seminars all across the world, paying for mentorship, you know, paying for different things to help me up my game in different areas so I could make more money, so I could develop. Constant pressure of failure. People say, oh man, well, I'm afraid that if I do this and I don't succeed, well, maybe I should have just stayed where I was. Well, you know, that's the price of success. Because the reality is, if you don't try something new, you'll never have the chance to succeed. So you can't let that fear hold you back. There is going to be pressure of failure, but the bottom line is that's the price of commitment and also misunderstanding. You know, a lot of people misunderstood me in the beginning, and they still do. Oh, well, you know, Reco ain't like this, or he ain't who he used to be, and all this kind of stuff. The reality is I ain't who I used to be, because I used to be broke. I used to think different. I used to be negative sometimes. Now I'm not. Some people are not going to understand you, but it's about, do you understand who you are? Do you understand where you're going? If you're not living a lifestyle that you want to live, you do have to change. You can't get something different by doing the same things. So if you want something different, you know what you got to do? You got to do something different. You got to do something different. You must replace in numbers what you lack in skill. If you're in business, or if you're in your career and you're just getting started, you got to do more right now than other people who are better than you are. You can't look at people who are better than you are and saying, oh, if they only doing one call a week, if they only going out and talking to 2 people a week, but they getting this much and I'm getting this much, I'm never going to succeed. That's because they're better than you. But you can be better than them in terms of your results if you do more than they do. See, everything develops in ratios, and I ain't got time to go into that now, but maybe somebody else will laugh at me. But it's important for you to understand you got to replace in character and attitude with what you lack in skill. You got to replace in numbers with what you lack in skill. See, average people can do average accomplishments. Average people can do above average accomplishments if they pay an above average price. So you got to ask yourself, are you doing that? Number 9, those who are willing to pay the price will always be criticized by those who are not. Let me speed this thing up because I'm a little bit over my time. The first person to criticize someone who's paying a price is probably someone who's not paying a price. Raise your hand if you know somebody like that. Raise your hand if you know somebody who's always criticizing somebody because they're doing something, but really it's because they're not doing it. See, a lot of people just don't want to be left behind, but you got to ask yourself, are you committed to what you're doing? Because there's 3 tactics of the opposition. So you got to understand that you got to stop focusing on people who are not for you and start focusing on people who are for you. See, to me, it doesn't matter if I got 100 people that are against me, as long as I got 1 who's for me. Understand that. As long as I got 1 who's for me, that keeps me in power. Let me tell you something else. Even if that 1 person left me, check this out. A lot of y'all won't catch this, and this is where faith comes, and I want you to check this out. Even if that 1 person left me, let me tell you what, I'm still moving forward because I still got God. And I understand God supersedes and is stronger than any person who could be there. But let me tell you something, baby. As long as I got one or two, this train's still moving. This train's still moving. Stop focusing on the haters and the naysayers and the people who criticizing you, and focus on the people who ready to fight with you. Focus on the people that say, hey, man, if you gonna go, we gonna move anyway. I know some of y'all love watching movies. You probably seen 300, about those 300 warriors that took on thousands and they won because, baby, it was about that small team with high enthusiasm. See, that's what you got to get you. If you want to win, it don't matter that your circle's small. Just make sure that small circle got high enthusiasm and you're going to win. See, everything that started great started small. Everything that started big started from somewhere. You got to start at the bottom before you go to the top. A tree doesn't just come out a tree. It starts off as a seed, but you got to be able to be planted and you got to go through that process, baby. But there's opposition that's going to be out there. There's opposition. And 3 tactics of the opposition. Number 1 is to ridicule. So you got to understand that you're going to be ridiculed. People are going to talk down to you. They're going to talk about you, but you got to understand that you got to keep going. You got to be prepared for what's about to happen. Number 2, there's resistance. People are not open to what you're doing. See, some people, I see people put that on Facebook all the time. Well, how are you going to not be open to something that you don't even know about, right? Well, you got to understand some things, times when you listen to stuff, if it don't halfway sound right, you don't even waste your time with it anyway. Also, if you're committed to something, don't even waste your time looking at it. I have companies, network marketing, direct sales companies that call me typically about 1 or 2 a month. They want me to fly out to their company, look at what they're doing. They try to pitch me. And I appreciate the opportunity. You know, God has blessed me to be able to produce certain things. But I tell them that, you know, listen, I appreciate you giving me a call, but I'm focused on something right now. I'm committed to it, and I'll be wasting your time if I can't. I'll be wasting your time if I looked at the presentation. I'll be wasting your time. Why? Because I'm committed to Novae. I'm committed to where we're going. I'm committed to what I'm doing. No matter what, I plan on winning. And as long as I have that attitude, one by one, I'm going to find other people who have that attitude. Let me ask you a question. What kind of attitude do you have? What kind of commitment attitude do you have to your process? Not to getting paid, but to your process. Okay? And sometimes you got to have that resistance, because at the end of the day, you're on offense for what you're doing and what you're committed to, but the opposition is going to be resistant to you sometimes. And then also they're going to spread rumors. See, opposition will say things to try to take your eyes off of the prize. We're trying to take you off focus. We'll try to distract you. But it's important for you to understand that you can't let rumors get to you. It's important for you to understand that you can't let lies distract you. See, the enemy comes to distract you. It comes to kill your joy and everything that you got going on. But you got to understand that your promise is locked up into your focus. It's locked up into your commitment, and you can't sway or curve or get mad and get upset and get thrown off track. You got to keep going. Why? Because you are committed. See, persistence is the ultimate gauge of our leadership. Let me say that again. Persistence is the ultimate gauge of our leadership. The secret is to outlast your critics. Now that's a good one right there. That's a good one. And listen, I say, if I ain't said enough, I said it right there. The secret is to outlast your critics. There are many people that talked about Novae before we launched the company in 2014. There are people that were posting all on social media, sending out emails, having conference calls, talking about Novae was going to fail. Corporate companies that was doing this back in 2014. And those companies didn't last 6 or 9 months. We still going, baby. And you got to understand that we will still continue to go, because I'm not here to compete with those companies. I'm not even here to debate with those companies. What I'm here is to do a job. What I'm here is to fulfill a legacy. And when you start operating like that, you'll stop worrying about what people got to say. You know why? Because you got a legacy to fulfill. You got a job to do. You got people who are counting on you. So it don't matter what those losers are talking about. You keep winning. And that's what we intend on doing, okay? If you're going to be successful, you're going to have criticism. You know, my papa always told me that the higher you get on the totem pole, the more of your behind is exposed to people on the ground. If they're not talking about you, that means you're not doing anything, okay? So make sure you understand that if people talking about you, welcome it, because that's what they do to celebrities. That's what they do to highly successful people. They always in the tabloids, but they are living their life. Okay, it's just a part of the package. And the 10th and final thing on commitment is stay true to your most important commitments. I'm gonna give you 4 of mine, and yours should be I believe in this list, if not in this order. I definitely believe that yours should be here, and this is where mine is, right? Number one is God. You got to be committed to God. That's my first and foremost commitment. You got to understand that tests are here to increase your faith. There's things that's going to happen. There are people that are going to die, right? There's things that's not going to go your way, right? You're going to have adversity. You're going to have challenges, but you got to always believe that God is going to work things out according to his will. You know, we can't be all caught up in what we believe should work and the way we believe it should work. We got to be able to pray and have faith to let God's will be done. And we got to keep him first and continue fighting through this life, because life is a fight for territory. If you don't fight for what you want, what you don't want will become a reality. So you got to keep fighting and you got to keep your faith. And I totally believe that the reason why I continue to win, despite everything that happens, is I believe that God has my back, okay? Now, if you don't believe in God, maybe you should just check him out. Maybe you ain't got enough information. You know, get on the phone with somebody that can give you a little bit more information. They got a book out. It's real good, called A Holy Bible. Check it out. I'm telling you, it'll be something that can totally transform your life. Second thing, right, number two is family. Your spouse, significant other, your children, your siblings, your team. That's the second most important commitment in my life. You know, I believe if you got a family, that should be yours as well. The people in our company, the individuals who have been around, it's not just about them being a part of this company. It's about them being a part of our family, our Novae family. So we're totally grateful for you all, and you should be grateful for yours. Number three is your work. Okay, your work. Whether you have a job, whether you have a part-time business, if you're a Novae affiliate, or whether you're a part of another company, your work you should be committed to. Bring value to your work. Don't be there just to make the money. Remember, don't be committed to the pay. Be committed to the process. If you're committed to it, God will bless it. And if he's blessing you with these little things, he's gonna bless you with bigger things. But if you're just focused on things and you have these self-righteous motives, and it's all about you, you're only gonna stay at a certain level. And that's not something I heard. That's something that I've seen over and over and over again in my career. So you got to be committed to the process. And number four is your dream. Always be committed to your dream. You can't get people to believe in your dream until you believe in it yourself. You got to start getting committed to your dream, or other people won't be committed to your dream, okay? See, you got to ask yourself, do you have anything that you're dreaming that you're willing to be committed to long enough to see it happen? Now, I want you to take a screenshot of this if you type too slow or you write too slow, because you got to go back and look at this, especially when your lack of commitment starts creeping up. But do you have anything that you're dreaming that you're willing to be committed to long enough to see it happen? Or are you throwing pennies into the wishing well of life, wanting to receive on credit something that you are not willing to pay for? See, so many people just wish that they get this and they get that. So many people just hope that they get this and get that. So many people just pray that they get this and get that. But there is a price to be paid, and they're not willing to pay that price. They're just praying. They're just hoping. They're just wishing. And the bottom line is you're never going to be able to win until you're willing to pay the price. And as I close this out, I want you to understand that God bless each and every one of us with the potential on the inside of us to win. If you're watching this right now, if you're listening to this right now, it's important for you to understand that at the end of the day, you can win. God bless you with enough potential on the inside to make every dream you have that's realistic and accomplishable for you to be able to accomplish. God's gift to us is the potential that he put on the inside of us. But our gift to God is what we do with that potential. With that being said, that concludes my portion of this Super Saturday training. And what I want to do is go ahead and get into our next section and introduce the person that's coming behind me to give you some great information. And it's really about to help you take your business to the next level. You are a guest joining us, and you were on here for the first time. I'd like to welcome you to this. If you were a guest and you're not involved with our great company, you can go ahead and exit at this point, because we're probably going to start talking about some things you don't understand. But get back with the person who referred you to this phenomenal opportunity, because this is what we do almost on a daily basis with individuals in our organization. Is we just don't focus on getting paid, but we focus on the process. We believe that if we build people up and not only just give them the information they need, but if we encourage them to believe in something bigger and better than they've ever had, God will be able to give that to them, because you got to be able to believe that you can get to the next level. You got to be able to have confidence that you can get anything you got. That's why we inspire people. And then we educate them by giving them all this information. And we also provide you an opportunity so you can take it to the next level. I don't care how excited you are. I don't care how much information you have. If you don't earn enough income, if your finances are not in the right situation in this American capitalistic society, you will not make it. However much you believe in God, however much you pray, if you want to be able to live your best life in the United States of America, you got to understand how to play the game. And I believe that God has blessed you with the opportunity to get in front of this information so you can learn, so you can live the lifestyle of your dreams.